Welcome back. For years, Silicon Valley was the enforcer of content moderation, deplatforming, progressive politics. But now the tide is turning. Amazon, after pulling ad dollars from X over content concerns, is reversing course, writing big checks to Musk's platform once again. And Apple, they're eyeing a return as well. To put it on Elon Musk, in his own words, did we just become friends? Elon Musk bet big on Trump, and now he's reaping the benefits. Better late than never for other tech CEOs. They're all following suit. Even Bill Gates is now pledging to engage with Donald Trump. And Musk, reports say he's practically camping out near the White House, fully committed to shaping policy. So the old school Silicon Valley playbook is dead. The era of censorship is collapsing, and all voices are finally being heard. It's pretty amazing. And certainly, Dagan, you know how I feel about Mark Zuckerberg and his 180 specifically, but you see all these people playing ball together. I really think it comes down to Elon Musk setting the stage. He got to Donald Trump first. He crushed the censorship first, and he's got the president's ears. Other people saw that and got a little jealous.
They want the Trump administration, and I mean, I call them the four horsemen of the apocalypse: Google, Amazon, Apple, and Meta. And they think by cozying up to Elon Musk that they can, have a pipeline into the Trump administration. Maybe they get what they want. I wouldn't count on Elon always being buddy-buddy with these tech CEOs. I would love to see some competitors come along for these giants, because anything that further entrenches their market dominance is bad for America. The writer Cory Doctorow coined the term, and I can't say it on TV because it involves a foul word, but I will paraphrase it. In crapification. And it's where large companies eventually, they court you as a customer with great products initially, but then they treat you like garbage eventually. And Google has done that, Amazon, Apple, and Meta. Google used to have the best search engine, and now it just absolutely doesn't, and it makes all of its money on advertisements. And you even, with Amazon, you have to watch ads now on your Prime movies. Google is serving you ads in your Gmail. So again, you get treated like garbage, and you don't have any other choices. I'd like to see a lot more choices.
Yeah. So you bring up an interesting point, which is, will the tech titans get along with Elon Musk? I'm wondering, David, long term, that's certainly an issue. We could see some friction there. But I'm wondering long term, will Elon Musk get along with Donald Trump? Because when Trump picks his team, there's a certain way that he engages with them. And Elon breaks the mold in many ways. Do you think that they will be able to coexist and work together without butting heads? And if they do, will they both be able to kind of handle it and move forward versus having a relationship break up?
I think it's the latter, just because they are both they both have a lot of common sense, to use the phrase of the day. And the thing about Silicon Valley is it hasn't always been a progressive area. Steve and I remember back in the 80s when people like Carver Mead, who was one of the producers of the microchip, the first microchip, and Andy Grove, who was really the powerhouse behind Intel when Intel was still a real company. Forgive me if you have stock in the company. But it was a place of common sense. And in fact, that whole community, you'd find more solid libertarians, conservative/libertarians, than you would progressives, a lot more. So I think that's why I think Elon and President Trump are going to maintain their relationship in a positive way, because they both see great benefit in terms of their common sense in working with each other. Of course, the president of the United States, most powerful person in the world, if it's used properly, if he's not sleeping in the shadows as his predecessor was. But we now have two people that are, one, embedded in the market of the United States, the most exciting market that we have, whether it's going to Mars or dealing with communication. And we have the most exciting president that we've had since Ronald Reagan. So I think they have that in common.
You know what's interesting to me, Steve? Bezos coming around, I get it. Bill Gates That surprised me.
Well, I think all of them are reflecting. It's not just those 4 individuals. I think they sense there's been a profound shift in the United States. It's not just the numbers of the election itself. The American people are very, very different mindset than they were 8 years ago. They're not going to tolerate DEI. They're sick of women getting beat up in their own sports by men. They want all of that to go. They do want common sense back again. So I think these people are reflecting, not just, oh, I have epiphany or I got to be in good with the current administration. Right. I think they realize their constituency, the country, is changing. And so they don't want to be on the wrong side of history, as they used to say.
That's putting it nicely. Dagan and I had some harsher words for them this week. But let's get to this. A little irony.
Whatever their motives, if they're doing the right thing, you take it.
Okay, fair enough. I agree on the outcome. A little irony for you. Mark Zuckerberg sent a company memo complaining about leaks. Unfortunately for Zuck, that memo also leaked. Here's the Meta CEO. He says, quote, "We try to be really open, and then everything leaks. Everything I say leaks. It sucks. But the thing is, the only reason we know that Zuck wants to catch the leakers is because it was leaked." The problem seems to be getting a little worse here, Taylor, for our friend Mark.
He can't catch a break, can he? Not on this panel and not at the office either. Look, some of this comes down to, do you trust the CEO? Do you trust the internals of a company? And if you don't, you're more likely to leak things. If you're not sort of feeling like it's a company where you belong and where you're excited. And this sort of goes back to a leaked memo. Elon Musk is denying it, but a memo that said that X was barely breaking even, and why the conversation we're having about all of these advertisers would actually be so helpful to him from a business perspective, because you need Amazon and Apple and Meta to come back and advertise on your platform. So leaked memos or not, I think from a business perspective, you should get a grip on that.
What do you guys think about this, David?
Well, first of all, having said everything about how Silicon Valley used to be conservative, maybe getting back to its roots, there is a deep state in a place like Meta, and which has evolved over more recent history over the past 10, 15 years. And I think Zuck and the rest of them are realizing it'd be just as harmful to their game plan as it was to the United States game plan to have the deep state in our government. So they're going to have to root it out, and they're going to have to deal with people who have been just, the echo chamber within organizations like Meta is very strong.
That. And I apologize for going back and back to Mark Andreessen, but I'm a little obsessed with him. He's, from a farming family in Wisconsin. He's just so plain-spoken, and he loves America. And he talked about what happened in tech in Silicon Valley. And the kids who they wound up hiring were radicalized at universities, and they turned on capitalism and thought it was evil. And they were radical Marxists who joined these tech companies literally to try to burn them to the ground. And they were angry, and they infiltrated these companies. He said, quote, "You would get brigaded at management meetings with employees telling you there are too many white men on the management team. And why are you a for-profit company?" So they've already been through this. And it's one of the reasons that Zuck and Bezos and even Tim Cook have kind of surrounded Musk and President Trump, because they know they need to clean house. They need to get back to the Valley, or even get back to the 90s when they were Democrats, but they were Bill Clinton Democrats. They weren't Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez Democrats.
It's interesting because this kind of reminds me of the tariff discussion, that both sides have something to lose. And so that's the game of chicken that you're playing a little bit with big tech as well. And with the rise of AI, Steve, of course, big tech is only going to get more powerful, more important to the economy. But they're also going to have to work with government to make that happen, because Biden was trying to block them. And we see what could happen in China if we've got provisions in place here that don't allow the innovation to move forward. So it's just interesting to watch this dance as tech is not going to look like what it exists right now.
No, and those leaks are a good thing coming out of a Meta, because it's coming from the bad people, the bad guys, the infiltrators, you referred to them. And in terms of the future, I think they recognize, once again, in a free economy, AI is going to profoundly change the whole landscape. Microsoft, the big bad company of the 90s, floundered for 20 years, then made a huge comeback. But it was no longer the dominant monster that it had been in the past.
Yeah.
Walmart, big bad company. Then Amazon comes along. So they see future Amazons coming along. They see other future ones coming along, and they don't want to have happen to them what happened to Intel and some of these other companies, once mighty, then humbled.
I got to say, it also shows the critical nature of education in our country right now. As Dagan was saying, we have got to straighten it out from kindergarten through 12th grade, all the way up through college and graduate school. We have got to root out this horrible, horrible radical nature that's tearing the country apart.
Well, and what the whole purpose of X was not hate speech. It was less censored speech, free speech. Advertisers boycotted it because they thought, oh my gosh, uncensored speech means it's hate speech. Doesn't mean that. It means less censored, open, free speech. We have to find a way to get back there.
And speaking of AI and everything, we just got to move to this one piece.
I just want to add one thing. These tech companies know they're not going to be hiring out of Harvard. They're going to be hiring out of high schools and training them. And Satya Nadella, Bill Gates is a has-been. He might be rich, but he is donezo. Too bad Jeffrey Epstein's dead, you loser.
Whoa.
It's Satya Nadella who brought back Microsoft and saved it and took it in the AI direction.
Okay, speaking of AI, NVIDIA heading to the White House today. Another CEO. He wasn't at an inauguration, but now he's going to meet.
Yep, so now he's going, Jackie, right? So we do know NVIDIA CEO going to the White House today. We don't know exactly the full contents of it, but we do know it's going to be a conversation about AI, chips, and the energy to power that chips, right? Will it include an investigation on if the NVIDIA chips got to China from Singapore? I don't know. Maybe that is something that the U.S. government, according to reports, has said that they are investigating. Is it going to be more about export controls of these chips to China? I know, Jackie, and to you too, Dagan, those are conversations all week with DeepSeek roiling these markets. We've been talking about how does NVIDIA respond?